It is Saturday morning and there is a lot to do today. So the plan is to work on my RPG where you can say anything to NPCs. I've heard some people say that the game doesn't work for them, so I'll have to look into that. I really want to have a new build out by today. And the main feature that I want to add in is character creation, where you can assign your character's skills and stats. So I'm going to go do my morning prayer and we'll get right into it. Okay, so I've actually came up with what all the skills are going to be like quite a while ago. So what I'm doing now is I'm trying to figure out how to actually display them on the UI. I think often if you jump into a new RPG, you can get kind of confused about all the different things that are in it depending on how complex the RPG is. But basically the way that this is going to work is you're going to choose your temperaments, which is your personality. You also have your attributes. What's a little bit more fleshed out is the skills. And depending on what temperament you'll have, you'll start with a higher or lower skill in one of these sections. And the plan is now to basically replicate that in the UI. So I've been messing around with the UI a little bit. You have this what is your name panel showing up. This is what increasing your attribute is going to look like. So you're going to be able to interact with these arrows, which is going to increase or decrease. It's going to work just like Fallout New Vegas in that you have 5 in each. And then if you want to increase one, you have to decrease another one. I'm going to take a quick break to grab lunch and run some errands because yeah, it's going to be a busy day. So if I'm not able to finish this, I might just extend the video into 2 days and hopefully no one will complain about that. So see you later. Alright, so I'm done with lunch. You can see behind me I started kind of trying to get the UI together for just the attributes. So I'm going to spend the next few minutes trying to organize all the UI. I think after all I want to do them step by step. So first your name, then your temperament, then your attributes, and then that will calculate your skills automatically. And after that, I'm actually going on a mini pilgrimage to a very old church. So I'm going to try to get this wrapped up pretty quickly, and then I'll show you guys where it's at, and we'll go from there. I'm back from the pilgrimage and I might have miscalculated how long things would take me. It is a little bit late. I'm going to be streaming with my friend Max real quick. You guys might have seen a Game Jam video. We're going to be talking about one of our favorite shows, Arcane. That does leave us with a bit of a problem because I didn't do anywhere nearly as much as I wanted to do with the game today. And I think that's kind of a good reminder because game development is kind of all about finding time to actually work on your game, forcing your game into those little open spots in the day. And I didn't have anywhere nearly as much today as I thought, but I do have a little bit of time right now before the stream. But like I said, we're going to do some final touches on Sunday as well. The plan right now is going to be set up a little bit of the functionality of the UI and then talk about Arcane. See you later. Okay, so we have a slight problem. I wanted to initially make the player just a normal C# class. Basically, a game object is used for... Alright, so apparently I explained things terribly without a script. What I tried to say here was I started writing my player class as a normal C# class rather than a Unity game object component using mono behavior, but it turned out that because I needed to change the player's stats through the UI, I'd need a bunch of functions that I could hook up to it, and Unity's buttons can only call functions attached to a game object, meaning I had to restructure the code a bit to turn it into a proper Unity component. And the reason I'm talking about this is just because there's all these different little design decisions that you have to make in game development, and they often seem fairly simple until you're actually faced with them. This is a lot of the time where people will try to make a game and then they'll run into something that can't really be solved by, for example, by a tutorial, and they just won't really know what to do. You know your variables, you know your functions, you know all this stuff, you just don't know what to use in what situation. And that's kind of part of the reason why I advise people to like make small games first, just because you're gonna learn so much more about what to do in what situation when you do it that way. You're gonna learn how to come up with these design decisions as you do that. But okay, I'm on the clock here, so I have to hurry up and get this done. So after a little bit more work, it was time for the stream. For those of you who don't know, Arcane is very well known for its animation.
Watch the cheeks and maybe the throat a little bit.
It's crazy. They must have a shape key for the throat.
Are there any final closing thoughts you wanted to add?
I think Arcane is what really planted the seed in me to be like, I really want to figure out how to do this. Like, I don't know, maybe I will make like some sort of little animation or something after this.
Great art inspires and sort of continues on its legacy through the people it inspires.
I did have a couple opportunities here and there to make a couple changes, and I realized that there's going to be a problem with the UI. Like, for example, I want the race that you choose to affect your attributes later on, which means I should probably do the race selection after you've chosen your attributes, right? But that being said, this screen works, and I've really underestimated how long it'll take me to finish this. Even just while doing this, I ran into some errors. I don't know why this is disabled, for example. These buttons don't interact properly, but I can change my race here, and then you can, you know, be male or female. And then later on, you're going to choose your temperament as well. Like I said, I will be doing a couple more things tomorrow, so we'll extend it a little bit past just one day in the life. But tomorrow, hopefully I can wrap up the system. For now, good night. Alright, so it is Sunday morning, and there is still quite a lot to do on this extended day in the life, 2 days in the life, whatever. I'm about to go to Mass. After Mass, I'm going to get right back to it. I'm going to finish up the UI and get some skill usages in the game so that you can actually have varied builds and maybe go on a little quest that requires multiple skill checks in the game. So it should be good. It'll be fun. Alright, so see you later. So I was going to work on all that stuff that I mentioned, but I just remembered that I had that bug that people were reporting. People kind of said different things. I saw someone had like a translation issue, which honestly, I don't even know how that could have happened, because if you don't have localization or translation on something, it just uses whatever the text object had on it. So also people were saying that the NPCs were unresponsive to them, even though they passed in their API key. And I've been trying to replicate this. Like, I passed in a completely fake API key, and yeah, they're not responsive, which is exactly what I'd expect. So here's what it looks like if it doesn't work. I'll just approach the guard here. Hello. So he's just gonna say, huh, come again, and he just repeats that. So if I keep trying to tell him things, then he's just gonna keep on saying, huh, come again, and it's like immediate. So that's what you would be seeing if your API key isn't working. And then this is what you should see if you do pass in your API key. I wonder if people just saw like a blank screen and thought they're not talking to me, but you're the one approaching him, right? Like that makes sense, right? Do you think people will see that and just be like, there's no text, what's going on? There's no dialogue, it's broken? Because if I try it now, I can just, you know, do the same thing I did a second ago, just say hello. And there you go, he greets me as he would ask his character. It definitely works, and I'm passing in my API key, so I'm not sure what people are seeing. Let me know if you're getting any issues down in the comments, or if it's just unclear. That would be much appreciated. So I've been working on some of the UI functions. So this is the temperament scroll, and this is what pretty much all of the scrolling functions are going to work like. This is going to allow you to cycle through the temperaments and select the one that you want. And then here, when you're adding attributes, it's a little bit different. Basically, you're checking if your value is greater than 0. This will be true if you're clicking one of these buttons that are going to the right, and it'll be -1 if you're pressing one of these left buttons. So that's how you know if you should be increasing or decreasing. And then we also check if you have attribute points to spare, which can only be increased by decreasing one of your attributes. And of course, you can only increase it if you're not at the maximum, which is 10, and you can only decrease it if you're not at the minimum, which is 1. This is the function that saves the temperament, and then so on. It kind of goes through that whole process. Saving the attributes is a little bit more complicated, because I now have to cycle through the temperaments, because the temperaments are going to affect your attributes, like I mentioned before. But okay, so right now I'm going to break for lunch. I'm going to go to this place called the Berry Barn, which is a fantastic restaurant just south of Saskatoon that has these awesome dogs that run around, and it just has a pretty nice aesthetic. It's cool to kind of chill over there. Very good food. Okay, so yeah, I'm back from Berry Barn. It's kind of getting a little bit later in the evening. I've been working on some stuff here. It's been extremely frustrating, extremely infuriating, and it's being very annoying because when I click stuff, it just isn't registering that I'm clicking it. So yeah, just a simple little UI system, right? No problem. It'll just take me a little day. It'll just take me for a little bit, no problem. Yeah, I'm gonna go for a walk. Enough of this for now. Okay, so as you can probably tell, it is getting a little bit late, but yeah, it was good to go for a walk and pray and kind of just like relax a little bit, because coming back, I have actually figured out what the heck is going on. Well, let me show you. So here is the problem. When I put the mouse over this, it should kind of highlight. Like if I do it here, it does it. But it only does it at the very top of the button, and then for this it doesn't at all. And if I come in from like down here or something, it doesn't select them. If I click up here it works, but if I click down here, it's just like, oh no, what's going on? So it turns out what's happening is these descriptions are covering up the button, which is a totally easy fix. Basically, if I just group this over there and just make this small and just recenter that a little bit, now I can interact with these I guess it kind of just goes to show that, well, sometimes when you're caught up in kind of a nothing problem like this, which happens all the time when you're making a game, it's completely reasonable to just be like, I'm not gonna figure this out right now. I'm gonna take a second, I'll get back to it, and then it'll all make sense to me once I'm no longer just totally losing my mind. So yeah, I'll get this thing wrapped up, and then actually I think from there it'll be pretty easy, and I'll be careful with saying that because of how things have been going. But I want to just get some sort of quest in so that you can actually use your newfound skills in your character creation. So hopefully that works and it goes fairly smoothly. And I will once again see you later. Okay, final test run. Let's make him Thracian. Our temperaments, we can explain. Oh no, why not? Why not? The issue, I'm serious, was just I didn't save. I'll just make them sanguine. Do these work now? This is, I haven't tried these out yet. Oh my gosh, look at that, they work! Amazing. I don't know what happens if I press next. I don't remember what I hooked up to this. Nothing. Cool. Okay, so with things going generally pretty well, I just realized that I still haven't told you guys about the side project I've been working on, which right now is really just a rig. So I kind of alluded to this while streaming with Max. I am very interested in animation. You know, I've tried animation a bunch of times. I tried it in the old Arab Scare, I tried it in the new Arab Scare, I tried doing cutscenes, which didn't really work, so I ended up going with like the slideshows. But I really enjoyed doing the animation, and I really like storytelling. That's like my main thing. That's kind of why I do game development in the first place. So basically, the idea with this is I'm kind of, well, trying to see if I can make an animation. Maybe I can do like a little short. But as I've been doing this, I quickly want to tell you guys about an awesome course that I've been using to learn animation called 2Animate. I highly recommend checking it out because it's extremely useful. I've learned a lot from it already, and it helps out the channel because I actually have an affiliate link with them. And I wouldn't be recommending something like this unless I had the absolute confidence that it is worth it. So if you're interested, go ahead and check that out in the description. And maybe in my next video, I'll have made a little bit more progress on this, and I can show you guys kind of how that played out. For now, in these last few hours of the day, I'm going to try to get this build wrapped up as quickly as I can and make sure that I actually have something available to play. Time to get to it. So it is right around 11 p.m., but I finally managed to finish the character creation. Even in these last few minutes, I still kept on running into errors. By the time this video is out, there will be a new build available with a quest that you can use your new skills in. But other than that, I'm going to try to come up with a scenario that has all of that stuff. So you'll be able to find that linked in the description in my Patreon. And like I said in the last video, I've been trying to figure out with Valve if they're gonna let me post it on Steam or not. And believe it or not, they still haven't replied to my ticket. Even after I created a new ticket, they said they're gonna reply to that one. They didn't. So for now, I think I'm just going to keep the builds on Patreon and see where we can go from there. The first build is available for free, but the new build with the skills is going to be for patrons only, just because the game needs some sort of funding, especially if I'm going to be able to replace all of the Midjourney images with actual real artwork made by a real artist. So if you want to support the channel and try it out, you can also find a bunch of game dev learning resources on there. And I would greatly appreciate it if you supported me on Patreon, picked up the game, gave it a shot, gave me some feedback, and told me if there's anything wrong with it, if you run into any errors or anything like that, or even just ideas for how you think it could be improved. Of course, if you have any ideas, please let me know in the comments. And if learning game development is something that you would be interested in, then check out this video right here, because in that video I talk all about the various mistakes that I ran into when I started making games, and hopefully help you avoid those same mistakes. So thank you so much for watching this day in the life, or well, 2 days in the life, I guess, of an indie game developer, and I hope you have a great day, and God bless.